The Shadows Beyond the Stars, Humanity's Next War, HFY Sci-Fi Stories. Opening message. Before we dive in, drop a quick never surrender in the comments. It helps this story reach more sci-fi warriors like you. Humanity just survived the Zarin Empire, but that was only a test. Something worse is coming, and Earth has one choice: prepare or perish. Let's see what waits for us beyond the stars. Chapter 1. The Silence Before. The celebrations didn't last long. Earth rebuilt its orbital stations, its scarred cities, its shattered fleets. The headlines screamed, "Victory," and "Never kneel again." But Commander Elena Rourke knew the truth. Victory was an illusion. The Zarin hadn't been defeated. They'd withdrew, and before they left, they'd spoken of others. On the Dauntless's bridge, now partially rebuilt, Elena stood staring into the void. She'd never feared the silence of space before. Now, silence felt like something watching. "Commander," her comms officer said, "we've got something strange. Deep space probes, Sector Epsilon 7. They're gone. Just gone. No debris. No signal." Elena's gut clenched. "Pull up the last transmission." Static. Then a blur of impossible geometry. Shapes twisting in ways no sensor should have captured. The image burned itself into her retinas, left her mind aching. Whatever was out there, it wasn't Zarin. It wasn't anything humanity had a name for. She whispered the words she hoped would never leave her lips. First Contact Horror. Chapter 2, Council of Fear. The Global Council convened in Geneva, but the chamber wasn't filled with pride anymore. It was filled with dread. Admiral Sato slammed his fist on the table. "We don't even know what we're facing. We can't fight shadows and nightmares." President Karim's voice shook. "If the Zarin were telling the truth, then this thing makes them afraid. What chance do we have?" Elena leaned forward. "The same chance we always have. Ingenuity, desperation, unity. That's what won us the war." "Won?" Sato sneered. "We lost half the species' fleet, Commander. Billions dead. If this enemy is worse, then we adapt faster," Elena snapped. "If they break reality, then we learn to bend it. If they fight with nightmares, then we fight with fire." The chamber fell silent. It wasn't courage that moved them. It was the simple, stubborn fact that humanity had no other choice. Chapter 3. Black Project Revenant. The answer came from the shadows. Deep beneath Nevada desert, sealed in a bunker even Elena hadn't known about, the project waited. Revenant Protocol. An experimental hybrid vessel, blending human engineering with fragments of captured Zarin technology. A ship not bound by conventional physics. A ship built for one purpose: to go where no human had ever dared. The UES Revenant was monstrous. Half starship, half weapon. Its hull jagged with railguns, missile pods, and something stranger. A core of unstable folded space energy ripped from a captured Zarin warp drive. "Test flights are inconclusive," the lead scientist admitted. "Inconclusive how?" Elena asked. "Sometimes it works. Sometimes the ship disappears for 6 minutes, then comes back with the hull frostbitten and the crew vomiting blood." Elena smirked grimly. "Sounds like exactly what we need." Chapter 4. Into the Abyss. The Revenant's first mission wasn't an attack. It was reconnaissance. The ship launched into the Epsilon 7 void, where the probes had vanished. Elena stood on the bridge as the stars bent around them, reality folding in unnatural ways. The crew whispered prayers. Then they saw it. Not ships. Not even structures. Something vast, coiling in dimensions the human eye could barely perceive. Shadows that cast no light. Shapes that moved but left afterimages like scars in the brain. The crew screamed. One officer clawed at his helmet until Elena restrained him. The thing noticed them. Every sensor lit up with impossible readings. A voice, not sound but thought, drilled into their skulls. "You are not ready." The Revenant's core overloaded. Elena shouted the only order she could. "Jump us out now!" They barely survived. When the Revenant reappeared near Luna, half the crew were unconscious. One never woke up again. But they brought back data, and that data terrified even the Zarin. Chapter 5. The Enemy of My Enemy. The Zarin returned, not with fire, but with words. Their admiral appeared in Earth orbit, his obsidian features grim. "You saw them," he said simply. Elena folded her arms. "We did, and we survived." "You should not have. The Khazarach devour not worlds but realities. Against them, fleets mean nothing." "Then why warn us?" The Admiral's eyes burned. "Because now, human, your fate is tied to ours. Alone, you will die screaming. Together, we may delay the inevitable." Elena smirked. "Funny. A week ago, you were demanding our surrender." "And now," the Admiral hissed, "I am begging your alliance." The chamber fell silent. Enemies yesterday, allies today, and tomorrow? Elena didn't know. But she knew this. If humanity had to shake hands with devils to fight demons, so be it. Chapter 6, War of Shadows. The Revenant became the spearhead of a joint human-Zerran fleet. Together they ventured into the dark sectors. Together they faced the Khazarach. The first battle was madness. No targets to lock, no hulls to breach, just horrors. Living voids that shredded ships by existing. Time twisted. Men aged decades in seconds. Entire squadrons disappeared into screaming light. But humanity fought differently. When the Zerran lines broke, Elena unleashed chaos. Kamikaze drones, weaponized black holes, experimental rail slugs tipped with antimatter. The Zerran recoiled in horror at the recklessness. But it worked. For the first time in galactic history, the Khazarach retreated. Not destroyed, not killed, but forced to withdraw. It was victory, a fragile, blood-soaked victory. And it proved one thing. Humanity's madness was a weapon unlike any other. The Devil's Bargain. After the battle, the Zerran Admiral stood beside Elena on the Revenant's bridge. "You are dangerous," he said. "More dangerous than the Khazarach know." "Good," Elena answered. "Let's keep it that way." He studied her for a long moment. "One day, we will be enemies again." "One day," she agreed, "but not today." They turned their eyes back to the void. Because the war wasn't over. The Khazarach had only been testing them, just as the Zerran once had. And humanity had answered again with fire. Humanity survived the Zerran. Now we've glimpsed something far worse, the Khazarach. But this time, we're not fighting alone. Or are we? What do you think? Will the Zerran betray humanity the moment it's convenient? Let me know in the comments. Hit like, drop a never surrender below, and don't forget to subscribe, so you don't miss the next chapter in humanity's fight for the galaxy. Until then, remember, the stars are watching.